From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. For all of you that make it happen each and every day, I am Keith Allen, and welcoming you to this Thursday's edition of For the People on November the 16th, 2017. Coffee in hand, and the newspapers in hand as well, always with a good dose of common sense, and I hope you'll keep your radio tuned. To me, it's amazing when we put these shows together. We have people that listen to the broadcast from all over the country, and I'm not one to try to rush to justice either way, but sometimes you can have a prowess and the ability to be able to read the tea leaves. And that is something that this broadcast has been able to do for a long time. And not everybody can do that. Not everybody has the sensibilities to be able to predict certain outcomes. And I am talking about Roy Moore. But first, before we go into the Roy Moore controversy, which I think is very damning to the Republican Party and to the country at large, Donald Trump did something that I thought was absolutely amazing, given the fact that he's had the bad rap with a lot of minorities accusing him of being anti-immigrant but racist, not liking black people, people of color. The UCLA basketball players were released, and they were getting ready to do a nice prison sentence in China for ripping off some sunglasses. A stupid thing that these players did. And President Trump largely responsible for convincing the president to release them. And the three African Americans that were released from China apologized and thanked Donald Trump. Now, do you think for a moment that ABC, CBS, NBC, do you think those networks, do you think they reported this as being one of their top stories? No, they did not. They did not, because they were men of color. There is such a double standard in the media, folks, and in this country, underreported, but we're reporting it, and you should report it too. For any liberal snowflake out there that accuses Donald Trump of being racist, why would he spend the energy or the effort, his valuable airtime, to free African Americans? So for all of those naysayers out there that say that Donald Trump doesn't like black people, people of color, well, there you go. And Donald Trump said on a tweet, to the three UCLA basketball players, I say you're welcome. Go out and give a big thank you to President Xi Jinping of China, who made your release possible, and have a great life. Be careful. There are many pitfalls on the long and winding road of life. Trump's tweet comes after the three college athletes held a press conference yesterday where they thanked the president and the U.S. government. The three players have been arrested after being accused of stealing designer sunglasses at Louis Vuitton store next to the team's hotel. But Trump helped them get back to the U.S., And they said, I would like to thank President Trump and the United States government for help that they provided as well. It's a nice thing to be thankful. People make mistakes, and they were lucky. They were lucky to be able to get out unscathed, and they had much better treatment than those in North Korea, that's for sure. Because William Warmbier, he did not get very good treatment there in North Korea, did he? But China, they're pretty strict. They crack down on all sorts. I mean, they're a communist country. They're not as bad as North Korea, but they can be bad. I had to lead with that today because it's just things that I have been feeling, and just the climate of our country where there seems to be this segmentation. I hate it. I really dislike it. But please spread the story of the UCLA Players that Trump negotiated for. Now, keep in mind, he did not pay the Chinese government any kind of money. There was no prisoner exchange. There's no weapons traded or technology or secrets. He just simply asked for him back. And he got his way. There was a victory in more than meets the eye. And I guarantee that those three ball players think a lot different about Donald Trump these days. And I think a lot of others with color should think the same thing. I have said repeatedly for minorities that liked the idea and also enjoyed watching a African American on the television and running things in the White House for the 8 years. It was a beautiful thing. But he had his time. And for those that feel like that they have something to offer their country, they too could run. They too could run for office and do something. And I wish that many more would. And they can. And I hope that it gives many others that have the potential to be able to be good leaders and to help this country move forward in positive, productive ways will stand up and go to work. Stand up and make a difference. It takes a backbone to get into politics more than ever these days, as you know. Now, Roy Moore, he finally answered some of Sean Hannity's, well, did he? A lot of people don't know. But Sean Hannity gave Roy Moore an ultimatum, 24 hours to defend himself and at least come up with some possible explanation as to these allegations. But Sean Hannity really finally departed from defending Roy Moore over this numerous sexual harassment allegations. Gave him an ultimatum to prove his innocence and some tough questions. Moore has responded with an open letter. He didn't come on Sean Hannity, just gave him an open letter, and I'm going to read it. I am suffering the same treatment other Republicans have had to endure, he began. A month prior to the general election for U.S. Senate in Alabama, I have been attacked by the Washington Post and other liberal media in a desperate attempt to smear my character and defeat my campaign, he continued. The Alabama Judicial Inquiry Commission, Court of the Judiciary, and Attorney General have investigated, scrutinized, examined, and vetted me, not to mention every opposing candidate against whom I have run, he added further on. Moore reiterated his argument. He says that we're at a stage in American politics in which false allegations can overcome a public record of 40 years. Stampede the media and politicians to condemn an innocent man and potentially impact the outcome of an election of national importance, he asked. I adamantly deny the allegations. of Leah Kaufman and Beverly Nelson. I did not date underage girls, and I have taken steps to begin a civil action for defamation, he concluded. But because of that, at the direction of counsel, I could not comment further. So Hannity on his show yesterday, talking to Roy Moore, issued that tough ultimatum to Roy Moore over accusations that the American people deserve 100% honesty, and said that Moore had 24 hours to provide his innocence. That was the open letter. He's suing for defamation. He's denying all accusations. And now there's, 7 women? And I told you there was going to be more. Now, I know there's many out there that are saying that he's completely innocent. He's done none of this. All this is just the left. They don't want a Democrat in power. They don't want him. I know the left doesn't want that, but is there a possibility? Is there just a remote possibility that this man is who they say he is? In other words, he did these things. Yes, it happened so many years ago, and yes, it sucks that this has happened, but is it possible that he did these things instead of defending it? And what I have noticed is that there's a lot of guys that have done a lot of things in their past life defending more. I even hate to bring this one up, but Bill O'Reilly was on Newsmax talking about the allegations. And Bill O'Reilly has had dozens of allegations at Fox News Channel of women that have come out against him that have left the network, that have had problems. And O'Reilly's been in the news field for 40 years. He's not on television any longer. He's been off for many months off Fox News Channel, one of the highest rated TV talk show hosts in history. There was a reason why he was let go. He's a hot potato. There is a reason, ladies and gentlemen. The reason is, according to many folks like Lindsey Graham, and this is basically how he put it, I've had enough. We're in a political environment, Graham was telling Fox host Shannon Bream. When the allegations first came out, I said, if true, he should step aside. I've heard enough. I believe the women. He was banned from a mall. His behavior was so extreme in his 30s that apparently the Gaddison Mall put him on the no-fly list, he said. That tells me a lot. I don't know anybody personally who has been banned from a mall. But when you put the whole puzzle together, it's pretty hard to not believe it. He continued, it's a ring of truth, and we're going to lose a seat we shouldn't win. And to my good friends in Alabama, your decision in the next coming weeks will determine whether or not Trump's agenda his agenda becomes successful, because I don't think that Mr. Doug Jones could be an effective senator, given the baggage that he has. It looks like Mr. Jones is on course to win, and he's not going to help us at all. He's not going to vote for anything on this agenda. Tax reform, Bream said, of the Democratic candidate, repealing Obamacare in part or full. Chuck Schumer of New York says is the biggest winner if Roy Moore loses, and Trump's the biggest loser, Graham said. Folks, I here to say that this is a very bad day, and it's been a bad week for Roy Moore and for the Republican Party at that. Do you hang on? Do you actually get the votes? Do you go into the Senate with baggage like this? More accusers have come out to describe various acts of sexual harassment and abuse. As recently in the 2000s. It's just way too many women coming out being, in my opinion, courageous to come out to tell their story. It's finally coming to haunt him, and